I was once a man living the dream. At the age of 30, I had everything I thought I wanted: a beautiful wife who loved me, a handsome young son, and a thriving business that brought in millions of dollars. My life was perfect on the surface, a picture of success. We had the house, the vacations, the car, everything. I was on top of the world, and I believed this was what happiness looked like. But in the blink of an eye, everything changed. I lost it all. Looking back now, I can see the mistakes I made, the moments when I lost sight of what really mattered. I had everything I ever dreamed of, yet I allowed myself to be consumed by the very thing that made me successful: work. As the money flowed in, so did the demands of my business. I thought I was building something monumental, but in reality, I was building a wall between myself and my family. I remember the first time I truly felt the distance between my wife and me. We used to laugh together, share our dreams, and talk about everything. But as I became more immersed in my work, those moments of connection slowly started to fade. I became too busy to notice the subtle signs: the loneliness in her eyes, the exhaustion in her voice when she spoke to me. I thought that as long as I provided for the family, everything would be okay. But I was wrong. The truth is, no amount of money can replace love, attention, and connection. It wasn't until my business started to fail that I began to truly reflect on my life. One morning, I woke up to find that everything I had worked for, everything I had built, was slipping through my fingers. In a matter of weeks, I lost everything: my wealth, my status, and ultimately, my marriage. My wife, hurt and feeling abandoned, decided to separate. I was left alone with nothing but my thoughts and the painful reality of my mistakes. For the first time in years, I had to confront myself. I had spent so much time blaming others as my wife, the economy, bad luck. But deep down, I knew the truth. I had done this to myself. I had pushed away the people who mattered most in my life in the pursuit of something that turned out to be empty. I started to ask myself, who am I? Not as a husband, father, or businessman, but as a person. What had I truly become? Why had I let myself get so far off track? I realized that in my pursuit of success, I had lost the very essence of who I was. I had allowed external pressures to define me, and in doing so, I had lost touch with my own values and priorities. At that point, I made a conscious decision to stop blaming others and start taking responsibility for my life. I realized that if I wanted to rebuild, I had to start from within. It wasn't about fixing the external circumstances. It was about understanding why I had let myself get lost in the first place. And that's when I began to ask myself the most important question I've ever encountered: why not me? This question became a turning point. It wasn't just about asking why I had failed or why things had gone wrong. It was about asking why I couldn't be the one to rebuild my life, to create something better for myself and my family. Why not me? Why couldn't I embrace my failures as lessons and turn them into something positive? For so long, I had convinced myself that the people who succeeded, the ones who had everything together, were somehow different, more capable, or luckier than I was. I thought that their success was due to things beyond my control: connections, timing, or just sheer fortune. But the truth is, everyone faces struggles. Everyone has setbacks. The difference is that those who succeed don't wait for everything to be perfect. They don't wait for the right time. They take action, even when it's messy, even when they're uncertain. And that's when I realized that the first step in creating my new life was simply to take action. In the midst of my failure, I discovered that the real obstacle wasn't my circumstances or other people. It was me. I had to stop letting fear and doubt control my actions. I had spent so much of my life playing it safe, thinking that as long as I didn't rock the boat, I could keep everything intact. But I had been lying to myself. True growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens when you're willing to face your fears, your vulnerabilities, and your mistakes head on. I stopped waiting for the perfect moment to change my life. There is no perfect time, no magical moment when everything aligns. Life doesn't slow down to give you time to catch up. There will always be challenges, always be reasons to put things off. But that's the trap. I had been waiting for everything to be ideal, and I realized that waiting was just another way of staying stuck. If I wanted a different life, I had to start now in the middle of the chaos. So I took the leap. I started to pursue things I had always wanted to do, things I had pushed aside for years. I spent time with my son, rebuilding the bond I had neglected. I started reading, learning, and working on myself. And, most importantly, I learned to listen to my heart, not the voices of doubt and fear. But even as I began to make these changes, I faced another challenge: failure. It wasn't easy. There were moments when I felt like giving up, when I questioned whether I was capable of building a new life. But every time I failed, I learned. Every setback taught me something valuable, and slowly but surely, I started to see progress. I didn't have all the answers, but I was moving forward. I also started to understand something profound. Everything in life happens for a reason. I had spent so many years blaming others, blaming circumstances, but the truth was that I had created my own reality. I had allowed myself to be swept away by the pursuit of wealth, success, and validation from others. I had put my own happiness on hold, thinking that it would come later. But now I realized that happiness doesn't come from external achievements. It comes from within. In those moments of reflection, I also came to realize the importance of responsibility. If we point one finger at someone else, there are 3 fingers pointing back at us. The situations in my life, good or bad, were a reflection of the choices I made. And when I took responsibility for those choices, I could begin to understand the lessons they were meant to teach me. The key to growth was not to blame, but to learn and evolve. As I started to reconnect with myself, I began to see that the greatest lesson I could take from this experience was that the world wants us to succeed. It wants us to be happy, fulfilled, and strong. The mistakes we make are not punishments. They are lessons that guide us toward the life we are meant to live. It was only when I started focusing on my own happiness, rather than the expectations of others, that I truly found peace. In the end, I realized something that changed everything for me. Within me is an extraordinary strength. The power to change my life, to create the life I wanted, had always been within me. I had simply lost touch with it. But now I was reconnecting with that power, and it felt incredible. The question that changed my life wasn't just about asking why I couldn't have everything I dreamed of. It was about realizing that I was the one who had the power to create it. The life I had always wanted was within my reach, and all I had to do was trust in myself, take action, and stop waiting for perfection. It's been a long journey, and I still have work to do. But every day I move closer to the life I want, the life I deserve, and I can say with certainty that I am no longer the man I was before. I have learned the most important lesson of all. Life is what you make of it, and the power to change everything is within you. So, let me ask you the same question that changed my life. Why not you? Why can't you be the one to change your life, to take control of your destiny, and to build the life you've always dreamed of? The answer is simple. you can. You have the strength, the power, and the ability to create the life you want. It all starts with taking the first step.